Alrighty, guys, it is 3:30 this Thursday, July 30th. Last couple of days of July. So far, the trading has actually turned into a positive experience. For the last couple of weeks, we've been absolutely being creamed, nonstop selling. They start in the morning and then just hammer us. So far, the day session has been nothing but positive. So we started off this morning thinking range. We are thinking range bound with a bias to the downside on the ES. We were thinking downside bias on the Nasdaq. We were trading way down here in these lower support areas, and to form the daily structure has been day session starts, they hammer us. Now, the only thing we talked about this morning is the potential for a small rally going into the close of the month, because basically they've been selling it all the last 2 weeks, and fund managers most likely want to pick up some of these stocks before they close the books, so that they can start off August with a pretty good spot for some gains for August. There is an opportunity for a potential rally going into the close of the month the last couple of days. And I think we're seeing the beginning of it. So yes, today was an update. We did not run it lower. I was pretty certain we were going to see a retest at a low. Never happened. They just took it higher, and as they start taking out some key resistance, then we changed our bias. So in this morning we said we were going to. Let's see, I can scroll this thing up a second. This morning we said we were trading up here against that 73.70s or so, 73.80s. We were looking for short setups against the 74s and the 74.20s up to the 74.30s. But if they took out the 74.20s and 30s, we were going to take off the short buys and go back range bound. So right now, I would say that we are range bound. We are back up in this upper range again. We are definitely the probe to the downside from yesterday, which was pretty brutal. This whole sell off. Has been reversed, and we are back up in this upper area again. I would just call it in this upper range. So on the capital flow, you can see this is the area that took out the 74.10 to 30, and this whole area was taken out. We're back up in this upper range. So a pretty good spot to be in, and I would say that we have a pretty good shot at some more strength going into tomorrow's trading as well, just to close out the month. We had tech earnings come out this last night. We had Meta, which got hammered, and we had Microsoft, which they grew their Azure cloud business quite a bit, and so that lifted everything. So Microsoft is up like $60 today. Hasn't moved forever, and then $60 up today. So that is pretty good. So that lifting up everything else. So that set the stage for some positive stuff. Overall, also we got a pretty good inflation read. That PCE index came in lower than expected this morning, and that probably helped the market lift itself. So I would start off range bound going into the overnight trading. Probably start favor the long side to get started to see how far they want to take it. But I'm thinking that we're probably going to run out of gas around about here 74, 80, 90, 7,500, and pretty much stay range bound. Now, if they keep going and start taking out some more resistance areas, then we could have a nice little rally going into the close. But I'm not going to count on that. I'm going to see what the market does going into tomorrow's trading and then take it from there. Now, for tomorrow's trading, what we have in terms of news, let me see. So tomorrow's trading, we have employment cost index at 8:30. We have Chicago PMI at 9:45, and we have consumer sentiment at 10. So we got news at 8:30, 9:45, and 10. You to be aware of. On the Nasdaq, very positive. They have taken out key resistance. Finally, right? As we're sitting here getting ourselves hammered the last few days. So we've been down in this price discovery territory to the downside. That's in this big low volume area. We had these two support areas on the way down. That was at the 48, what is that? From the 400 to 500, and then about the 230 to 40s here. They're at the 230 to 40s. They're barely taking it out. Reverse retesting this level right now. So far, we have a probe higher, but there's been reversed. Now, if they can hold above this area, the 230s, we may start with a slight bias to the upside to get started. If they close below it, they're just going to start off range bound, maybe favoring the long side at least to get started. But it could go either which way. We also probably have tech earnings coming out after they close today. I don't know quite which ones they are, but and we watch the Nasdaq for some whipsaws after the close. And if for some reason, if Nasdaq blows through this area, the 28,000s again, nice three little ledge, then we're back on the short side. Otherwise, I would just stay range bound and I would keep a slight bias to the upside. That's the way I would start it off. And then let's see if they can hold the gains or not. So critical spot for Nasdaq. If they can get up above that 28,500s, I would be a lot more amicable for a little rally kicking in. But right now they are up here flirting with the resistance areas, reverse retesting those, and that could be a potential short opportunity. Or if they bust through it, you may want to hop on a retracement trade. Retrace all these single prints. You see the C and B prints all the way down, all the way up here to 28,600s. That is your retracement trade. So that could be, if they start taking out these areas of resistance, that's what I would look for a long trade, all the way back up here. But we will see how it develops in the overnight. We can back in tomorrow. So that's the ES and the Nasdaq. Yes, took one trade early on this morning, and that was the textbook trade. That was this after they started heading higher. They run into resistance. We were up against the 28 240s. That is right up here. That's this area of resistance. So we were up here, CD print. And if I split out these two, you see the CD print is right there. So this was this morning, and you can see how they ran out of gas there. Stalling, can't take it higher. Now, I'm not aggressively hopping on that thing just yet. I was waiting for it to fail, and I got short at the failure. So now the aggressive approach would have been to get short at the edge, give you great trade location. But it's hard to do that when they run up like this, not the discount or count out the potential pop to the upside. So I didn't want to do that. I want to wait for the second failure. So this one, they backed off a little bit, traded back up again, and then failed again. And that's why I tried my short trade. And this little move right there is $75 on a one contract trade. Now, I got out early because with this kind of move, I was not sure I was pretty sure they were going to run it back up again, as they usually do. Today, it wasn't the case. They just kind of kept driving this lower and lower and lower and lower. There you go. They were always down to the midpoint before they held up. So one trade, $75, and that was it for me today. On the bonds, bond market didn't do much. They were range bound. They were started off with a bias to the downside. Hasn't really taken us out of that mode. They're still leaning short on the bonds. Right now, looking for shorts against that 109.16s for rotations down. If they can start retracing this move from the other day, we may have been in good shape for a little bit for a long trade. Otherwise, I would just look for a short opportunity for another retest of these lows. So looking for a retest of that 108.26 to 28 support area. But we'll see how it develops into tomorrow, Friday. All right. All right, back to the nothing much to say about the cryptos. Haven't done anything on the cryptos. I've been pretty sloppy back and forth, so haven't done anything on those today. But the ES and Nasdaq has been very tradable. And if you wanted to try a long trade here on the way back up from that London close, definitely had an opportunity there. But you see that green stripe? That's your 2 o'clock hour. That's usually where you get the directional change. But nothing happened there. They just went sideways, and then they kept going higher. So I would say that we're in a pretty good spot to potentially take it higher. The only caveat, as I said, is we're running into resistance right now, and they kind of had to make that extra push to get through it. But last trading day of July, that's tomorrow. We'll see how these things go. All right, guys, we'll wrap it there. We'll see you back bright and early in the morning. Later.